Family were a British, mostly prog rock band who existed from 1966 to 1973. And their lead vocalist, Roger Chapman, was their only constant member. So they managed to have quite a lot of changeover of members, including John Wetton, who went on to work with King Crimson and others. They did release 7 albums, though. They reunited in 2013 for live performances, and I believe are still doing so at times. Hi, my name's Dan, and this is a review of Music in a Doll's House by Family, which was their first album, and it was released in 1968, and it's my first time listening to it, surprisingly. In fact, I'm ashamed to say, although I'd heard of Family, I didn't know that they were regarded as a prog band. And for someone whose specialist subject, as it were, is prog, then that's a bit of a disgrace on my part. So, hands up, that was me. Let's try and describe the album, though. I would say it's quite a diverse album, actually. So it comes before there is this kind of watershed moment in prog that a lot of people refer to as kind of really where prog started, which is In the Court of the Crimson King by King Crimson, which was released in 1969. This was released in 1968. So it was before that. And it has, certainly elements of prog here. It's got some psychedelic sounding stuff. It's got stuff that kind of sounds like psychedelic rock, kind of. I was associated with Jefferson Airplane, and some more pastoral nature stuff like the excellent track "The Breeze." Sometimes it's more blues rock. Sometimes it's more fairly straightforward rock, kind of like preempting pub rock, which was a thing in the kind of early mid-70s. And lots more folk rock, poppy at sometimes. It really doesn't stay still. Is almost, and this is one of those phrases, almost too diverse to be prog. It's just really quite diverse in feel and sound. But one of the things that is definitely kind of leaning it towards the prog end is the use of classical instruments like strings and woodwind and mellotron, and the use of some studio effects techniques to give some odd effects, and some interesting editing, and some of the subject matter. Produced by Dave Mason of Traffic, who were regarded as a prog band as well. So, given that apparently they only had a 4-track tape machine, and so the overdubs that they did were done live into the master. They played back the 4-track and played extra stuff straight into the master. And given that, the level of production is actually really impressive. Apparently, this meant that this was in the era where they were still doing a mono version and a stereo version. And this actually meant that because they couldn't mix it down separately differently, they had to play for both the mono version and the stereo version. And they ended up with different arrangements as a result because they played slightly different things. But despite the fact that this level of production is, they've managed to leverage this really well, the quality of the recording is a bit disappointing, I would say, probably as a result of just having this 4-track machine that they've got. Roger Chapman, who's singing, his voice can be quiet and fairly contemplative, but most of the time when he's singing loud, he's got this really strange, tight, warble vibrato to it, which is described by some critics as a bleating vibrato, or as an electric goat, which isn't very complimentary. So it's not a sound that I've often heard in people's voices, but most noticeably, I think that it's a sound that Peter Gabriel in the Genesis era used. And apparently, Peter Gabriel was a fan of Family, and so probably copied this style as a result. The songs are about a variety of fantastical psychedelia things, everyday comic observations like Hey, Mr. Policeman, and pastoral themes like Winter and the Breeze. It's a diverse and eclectic album. I enjoyed it. It's not my favourite prog album. It's not kind of suddenly gone, if I'd known this was existed, I wouldn't say such and such is my favourite ever. But it is a nice new discovery, and I'm giving it a decent score because it's it is pretty good. But that is what I think of this album. As always, I'd love to know what you think. So please, will you let me know by leaving me a comment in the comments? I love reading your comments. But that's it from me for now.